All right, this is my preseason tight end rankings for the 2025 NFL season. Let's get started. Starting off with some honorable mentions here, we have Theo Johnson, Luke Musgrave, Austin Hooper, Terrence Ferguson, Josh Oliver, Payne Durham, Brock Wright, Dan Bellinger, AJ Barner, and Darnell Washington. Getting started here at number 50 is going to be Ben Sinnott. I will say tight ends was pretty hard for me to rank. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about a lot of these guys because I don't really know a whole lot about a lot of these guys. This is kind of a very brief ranking. I kind of just put it together. I really don't know what to think about a lot of these guys. But number 50 is going to be Ben Sinnott. I think he's going to be a good tight end too behind Zach Ertz here in Washington. Number 49 is Grant Calcaterra, who was number 42 last year. Maybe takes a small step down because I think the Eagles have an improved wide receiver group this year. 48 is going to be Tommy Tremble. I think Jatavion Sanders takes over more as the tight end one here over Tommy Tremble, so he's going to drop down about 11 spots here from last year. Number 47 is going to be Michael Mayer. He was an honorable mention last year. I think he takes a small step forward. I think the Raiders might actually have a worse receiving core this year than they did last year, so they're going to rely on their tight ends more, even their tight end too, Michael Mayer. 46 is going to be Elijah Arroyo, a rookie here for Seattle. So, of course, he was unranked last year because he is a rookie this year. But I think he's going to be good tight end 2 here in Seattle. 45 is going to be Mo Alley Cox. He's an honorable mention last year. I think he jumps up to being top 45. I think the wide receiver group isn't very... the wide receiver group is okay. It's about the same as it was a season ago, but I do think they might rely on the tight ends more because I think Daniel Jones is more prone to using his tight ends than maybe a guy like Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco were. Number 44 is going to be Luke Shoemaker for Dallas. He's going to be one spot higher than he was a season ago. Not a whole lot of difference, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about him. 43 is going to be Mason Taylor, who's an unrated last year. He's a rookie this season. I think he's going to be good here for New York. Coming in at number 43 as a tight end too. Number 42 is going to be Tyler Conklin. He's at Chargers now. He's going to be a tight end 2 behind Will Dissly. So I think he's going to be definitely worse than he was last year because last year he was a tight end 1 in New York. 41 is going to be Hunter Henry. He was pretty good last year, number 18. I think he's going to take a pretty significant step back this year. They don't have a tight end that I think is better than him, but I do think the wide receiving group is definitely better. Getting Stephon Diggs in there, their running game, Trayvon Henderson, I think he's going to be really good for them out of the backfield. So I think there's going to be less targets to go around for their tight ends, so that's why he drops as much as he does. Number 40 is going to be Foster Moreau for the Saints. He was pretty good for them, actually like a tight end 3 at times, kind of depending on how you classify Taysom Hill. But he's supposed to be injured for about 4 games this season. I had him at 25 last year, but with the injury, I think it's going to hinder him quite a bit. He's going to drop down to number 40. Number 39 is going to be Gunnar Helm out of Texas, I believe, here for the Tennessee Titans. He's a good tight end 2 rookie this year, of course. Good tight end 2 behind Chico Conquo in Tennessee. 38 is going to be Jake Ferguson. Maybe takes a little bit of a leap this year. Number 40 last year. So he's up 2 spots from where he was a season ago. I think he's going to be solid for Dallas. Number 37 is going to be Cade Stover. His honorable mention last year. I think it takes a pretty significant step up to being a legitimate tight end 2 option this year behind Dalton Schultz. I think it's going to be good for Houston. 36 is going to be Colby Parkinson. He kind of did really good last year when Tyler Higbee was injured. I think he's going to be able to build on that and be a legitimate tight end 2, even with Tyler Higbee healthy all year. 35 is going to be Will Dissly. He was 29 last year, but he's going to drop a little bit this year because they do have a good backup tight end in Tyler Conklin, whereas last year they didn't really have as good of a tight end 2. 34 is going to be Dawson Knox. I think he goes up a little bit here. Goes up by 4 spots in my opinion. I think Josh Allen might be using his tight ends a little bit more this year. I don't really have a real reason for thinking that. That's just in my brain. It's just kind of what I feel like. Number 33 is going to be Jatavion Sanders. So he was 39 last year, but I mentioned earlier, I think he's going to take over Tommy Tremble as the tight end 1 here in Carolina. So that's why he's going to jump up a few spots because he's going to be having a bigger role, in my opinion. 32 is going to be Harold Fannin. He was out of Bowling Green, I believe, a tight end 2 here in Cleveland behind Dave Njoku, of course. I think he's going to be a really solid tight end option for them. 31 is going to be Noah Fant here in Cincinnati. He was 28 last year, but I do believe he was tight end 1 in Seattle. Now he goes to Cincinnati. Going to be a tight end 2 behind Mike Gesicki, but he's going to be one of the better tight end 2s in this league. Number 30 is going to be Go Conco. He was 32 last year. Maybe takes a small step forward this year. I mean, Tennessee doesn't really have much receivers to worry about, so their tight ends might be getting a little bit more work this year than they did last year. 29 is going to be Juwan Johnson. Takes a small step back in my opinion. He was 24, drops down to 29. I think they have. I mean, they should be healthier this year. The Saints should be, which means their receiving core, in theory, should be better than it was last year. So that will hurt their tight ends a little bit, and specifically Juwan Johnson. 28 is going to be Darren Waller. So he was actually retired last year, so he was not ranked here on this list. But now he comes in, and I believe he's a tight end 1 here in Miami. I think he'd be really solid. They use their tight ends quite a bit. Johnny Smith was really good last year for them, but assuming the receivers can stay healthy this year, I don't think he's going to get a ton of work in, but he's still going to be a pretty good tight end for Miami. 27 is going to be Brenton Strange. He was a really good tight end too, coming in at number 33 last year. But now with Evan Ingram gone, I think he's going to be a legitimate tight end 1 and be able to improve a little bit from where he was last year. 26 is Zach Ertz. He takes a big step down in my opinion. He was number 8. He drops to 26. Part of that is because I mentioned earlier Ben Sinnott. I think will take a little bit of a step forward, take some of his targets away from him. Also, they have a better receiving core, bringing in Deebo Samuel to pair alongside Terry McLaurin. So their tight ends in general are going to be having less work or less targets to work with. 25 is going to be Taysom Hill. I mean, he was listed as a running back in my end-of-season rankings because he's a tight end on the depth chart, but his stats usually, measure up better compared to running backs than they do tight ends. So preseason, I will rank him as a tight end because that is what he is on the depth chart. I have my number 25. He's also supposed to miss at least 4 games this season, so hopefully he can stay healthy and be a good tight end / just whatever else for him. Number 24 here is going to be Noah Gray. He was 21 last year. I think he maybe takes a small step down. One of the reasons is because I think the receiving core is just better, like the wide receivers specifically, are better than they were last year, right? So their tight ends, especially their tight end 2, might be getting a little bit less work than the previous years. 23 is going to be Cole Kmet for Chicago. Drops 4 spots. I mean, he's pretty good, but I do think he's going to be the tight end 2 because Colston Loveland's on this team. I think he's going to be pretty good. So Cole Kmet was a pretty solid tight end 1, but now he's going to be a very, very good tight end 2 for Chicago. 22 is going to be Mike Gesicki. Takes a small step back from where he was last year, and part of that is because they have Noah Fant, who's going to be a really good tight end 2 as well. So he's going to eat into Mike Gesicki's numbers a little bit, but he's still going to be a very solid tight end 1 option. Number 21 is going to be Tyler Higbee. He drops 4 spots here. Number 17 last year was a pretty good spot, but I do think he drops a little bit because I mentioned earlier Colby Parkinson, I think, is going to have a bigger role for them. Also, having Devontae Adams on this team as opposed to Cooper Kupp is an upgrade. So the wide receivers might get a little more touches than their tight ends do compared to last year. Number 20 is going to be Cade Otton. I think he drops 6 spots here. I mean, he's still going to be pretty good for them, but they have a very, very good wide receiver group, bringing in Emeka Egbuka. I think Jalen McMillan takes a stride, so I think there will be less targets to go around to their tight ends. So even though there's not another tight end taking his reps away, there's going to be some more receivers taking his reps away. Number 19 is going to be Dalton Schultz. He was 22 last year. He's going to jump up a little bit to number 19. I think he's going to be utilized quite a bit. They do have a good receiving core still, but I just think CJ Stroud overall is going to have a better season, and part of that is because he's going to be using his tight ends a little bit more like Dalton Schultz. Number 18 is going to be Isaiah Likely. He was number 9 last year, which was really, really good. But I do think it takes a small step back, partially because of the injury. He's going to be out for at least 4 games. Part of that is because I think they have a better wide receiving core, bringing in D-Hop to this roster, right? So their tight ends in general might be getting a little bit less work, and his injury might hinder him some as well. Number 17 is going to be Kyle Pitts, dropping just 2 spots. I mean, you can always make the case that Kyle Pitts is a breakout tight end, but if you do that, I think you're delusional. He's going to be a very, very similar guy to what he was last year. I dropped him down 2 spots, but there also is a couple of rookies that jump ahead of him, so it's not like he's actually dropping below anybody. Number 16 is going to be TJ Hawkinson. He was number 16 last year. I think that's right around the same place he should be this year. He might be a little bit higher towards the start of the season than they are without, Jordan Addison for suspension for the first 3 games. But number 16, I think, is a good spot for overall season outlook. 15 is going to be Tucker Kraft. He was number 11 last year. I think he drops a few spots. I think the wide receiver room is going to be better. There are a lot of young guys that should be improved. Also bring him in Matthew Golden is going to take some reps away from their tight ends, and Tucker Kraft might suffer a little bit because of that. Number 14 is going to be Dallas Goedert, dropping just 2 spots. They do have a better wide receiver group, I believe, in my opinion. Even though it was really good last year, I think it might be even better this year. So that could take some spots away from Dallas Goedert, but overall, he's still going to be right around the same type of guy. Number 13 is going to be Dalton Kincaid. He takes a big leap in my rankings, and I can't really tell you why. I just kind of have this feeling that Dalton Kincaid is going to have like a breakout year and be really, really good. Their wide receiver group last year wasn't like insane. There wasn't really big names on there. It's kind of the same how it is this year, right? They have a lot of good receivers, but no really great receivers. And I think Dalton Kincaid might solidify himself as a great receiving option at the tight end position. Number 12 is going to be Jonnu Smith. He was number 3 last year as the tight end 1 in Miami, but I don't think he's going to be nearly as productive in Pittsburgh. He's going to be a tight end 2 likely behind Pat Freiermuth, but of course he was better than Pat Freiermuth in my opinion last season. But I do think coming into Pittsburgh and their scheme, he's going to be behind Pat Freiermuth kind of out of respect for Pat, and also last year might have just been kind of a fluke for Johnny because he had a lot of touches because they had receiving injuries. But he's still going to be a very, very good tight end too, because they don't really have a whole lot of receiving options outside of DK Metcalf. So it is still going to be tight end heavy offense with Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. Number 11 is going to be Colston Loveland for Chicago. I think he's going to be the starting tight end here over a guy like Cole Kmet, even though Cole Kmet is very, very good in his own right. Colston Loveland should get a lot of targets, and I think he's going to be a standout for Chicago. Number 10 is going to be Mark Andrews, who was number 6 last year. I think he's going to drop a little bit. It's Mark Andrews, so of course he's going to drop, right? I mean, that's kind of what he does. That's what he does best, is drop the ball, right? So he's going to drop a few spots here. Kind of to go with that. Also, the receiving core I do think was a little bit improved, and he's getting older, so some slight regression just kind of makes sense. Number 9 is going to be Travis Kelce. So we actually have him better than he was last year. I mean, part of that is because I think he's going to have some extra motivation, because I do think this is his last season playing. So I think he's going to have a little bit of extra motivation and really, really, really want to go out on top and prove himself. So I think he's going to have a better regular season than he did last year, because he really just wants to try 100% all the time. Not that he wasn't doing that last year, but I think he's going to really, really make sure that he does everything he can to have a really, really good year, because this is probably his last season. Number 8 is going to be Evan Ingram. He was 23 last year. He's going to be number 8 right now. He actually plays for Denver, not Jacksonville, obviously, but getting on Denver now, I think he's going to be amazing for Denver. I think he's going to be much improved from where he was last year in Jacksonville. He's going to be a bigger part of this offense, I think, than he was in Jacksonville. Also, there's not really a tight end 2 like Brenton Strange to take away his reps. Number 7 is going to be Tyler Warren. This might be very, very high for Tyler Warren, but I think he's going to be the best rookie tight end in this draft. I think it's going to be amazing for the Colts. Again, they do have good receiving targets with Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, and Michael Pittman, but I still think Tyler Warren is going to get a large amount of touches. I think he's going to dominate this tight end position for the Colts. Number 6 is going to be Pat Freiermuth, who's 13 last year. I think he's going to improve this year. They have a worse receiving core this year, even though last year they didn't have a very good receiving core either. I think they have a worse one this year. So Pat Freiermuth might be getting more touches. And I think Aaron Rodgers might like his tight ends more than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields did, so he might get more touches because of that as well. Number 5 is going to be David Njoku. He was really good last year. He should be really good this year. I mean, the Browns don't have many receivers outside of Jerry Jeudy to give the ball to, so he should have plenty of opportunities to get the ball. Number 4 is going to be Sam Laporta. He was number 7. I have him jumping up a few spots. I mean, he's still very young, so he definitely can be improving himself. Also, I just think their team is going to be very, very good all around, and I think Sam Laporta is going to be a very, very big part of that. Number 3 is going to be Trey McBride. He was number 4 last year. I have him jumping up 1 spot. I mean, he's still very, very young. He can improve marginally, right? And Kyler Murray, I think, is going to have a better year this year than he did last year, and part of that is because Trey McBride will also have a better year himself. Number 2 is going to be George Kittle. He's actually going to drop from number 1 in the league. You should probably know who number 1 is by now, but George Kittle is going to be a great player once again. But I do think he drops very, very marginally, even though he might not actually be a worse player himself the guy that jumps ahead of him, I think it's just going to be that much better. Number 1, Brock Bowers, who was number 2 last year as a rookie. Raiders don't have many guys to throw the ball to outside of Jacoby Myers and old man Amari Cooper. So Brock Bowers is probably going to be their best receiving threat on their team. And I think he's going to be the best tight end in football. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be very close, right? It was pretty close between him and George Kittle last year. I think he takes even a bigger step this year than some people might expect. But that's about going to be it for this video. You can look at my simple view here, just showing them all 1 through 50. You can take a picture, just skim through it if you want to. I'm not going to read them off for you, but that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back tomorrow. Should be my wide receiver videos. I have my running back and quarterback videos up already, so look at those if you so wish. And there should be some other videos coming out over the next few days as well.